You want the child support from a man. So the least that you can do, if you're getting 8 months, 9 months of child support, let's test the child before the child support starts, right? What do the Republicans say? Any measure to establish the paternity of a child, born or unborn, DNA test, shall not be required without the consent of the mother. What? Born or unborn? But then she gets to take my $1,200 a month?
Open your eyes, brother.
What are the Republicans doing? To me, the Republicans and the Democrats, it's all up. You guys are suffering under child support. And so many of you are Republicans. The woman doesn't have to have a DNA test, can sign you up for child support, and gets to consult directly with the judge on the amount, and you don't have a say at all. It's not even your kid.
What the hell?
What the hell? That's against the protocol, Robert.
Man said he was tired of paying child support for a child that was not his, and the courts knew was not his. Now, with this court order, he is one step closer to justice.
A bill proposed in the Tennessee state legislature could make it mandatory now for fathers out of wedlock to take a DNA test before signing a birth certificate.
Kayla, this bill was discussed and passed in a House committee today. And you know, it goes back, there have been advocates who said it could solve a lot of problems if it were just the first thing that happens for all babies.
Hello, welcome to Reactions and Reviews. I'm your humble host, Eze. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the show. Shout out to our good brother at RoddyRod4922. Thank you, my dear brother, for your $25 super thanks blessing. Our good brother Rod wanted us to dive into a discussion of DNA testing, which to me is paternity test, whether it should or should not be mandatory. Okay? Let's get into it.
You can't actually believe this.
I absolutely believe it. Women are untruthful, they're unfaithful, and they're unabashedly mercenary. The gyno-judicial system allows them to commit paternity fraud, and that's exactly what's going on here, as Dan Springer said. You know, they just did a study in New Hampshire. They found 30% of men paying child support were not the biological fathers. And a recent study in Australia of 6,000 DNA tests showed that 25% of the women were lying. So this is an anti-extortion kit that men need.
Stop letting moms guilt trip you into not doing a paternity test. Moms, if this man has some doubt that this is his child, you should be encouraging him. You should say, go ahead, let's do this test. I'm going to show you that this is your child. So listen, if somebody doesn't want me to do a paternity test and I'm a man, red flag. Red flag, red flag.
See, a lot of women have no problem with child support. There's child support, child support, child support, child support, child support. To the point it's a weapon now. What they don't understand is the other side of that. The nightmare, the trauma, the hell that men live through with child support, and especially it not being their children.
I was down there in handcuffs and chains.
Over the years, Edward Bowdery had his driver's license stripped and once even found himself in handcuffs over child support payments for a child that's not his.
I would hate to see somebody else go through the same thing.
Now, I get it. There's some feelings that are going to be hurt. I get that. But this is really not about hurt feelings, because let me tell you what hurt feelings looks like. Hurt feelings looks like a man who has a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old in court, and they're finding out that all this time, that's not their child.
I was 17 years old when I met your mom, and I'm hanging with my friends, and that's when I met your mom. We ended up breaking off, and a few months later, I'm in court. I didn't even know she was pregnant. Got summons to go to court.
He claims as a teenager, he was declared the father by the court, making him responsible for child support.
Correct. Being named the legal father then makes you responsible for child support.
I didn't meet Richard until I was 16 years old. I went to foster care for 4 years. I went through lots of therapy. I'm back today.
They can't get this child support money back. And let me just say this. For most of my clients that I've represented that's happened to, it was not even about the child support. I mean, I've seen grown men break down, as they should, if they find out that this child is not theirs and the child is 15, 16 years old. Like, really, what do you want them to do?
In 1992, we filed our taxes. Taxes came back, and there was a letter, $28,000 in back child support. I just didn't have a clue that was even there.
What did you do to try to find her, Mr. Miles?
People that you knew and telephone line, because I wasn't there. I was in Alabama, so I had no way of getting contact to anybody except through my family.
And the sad thing about this is, if mom decided that she wanted to snatch that child up, that guy has no legal rights. Why? Because it's not his child.
Ms. Turner, you've been hurt a lot, and we have to take it one step at a time. And I will say this, if you weren't worth it to him, he would not have called this court.
It's time for the results.
Miles versus Turner. Christine Turner. Mr. Miles, you are not the father.
If you made it this far, hit that like button and leave a comment to trigger YouTube's algorithm. I'm a new channel and I'm trying to grow. So hit that subscribe button and hit that bell to let you know every time I upload a new video.
Rapper 600 Breezy is allegedly caught up in some baby mama drama. Lord. The artist posted a comment that was later shared on the Shade Room, and it seems that he's basically begging his ex to provide a paternity test for their children. He also claims he's not a deadbeat dad, but deserves to know for sure if he's supporting kids of his own.
So he can't go to court and say, let me get visitation. He can't do any of that if that's not his biological child. That's a sad day.
You guys, what if there was a day where paternity tests were actually mandatory? Why aren't
Do you know
they?
who your baby daddy is?
I do.
Exactly.
But can I say this for honestly? Yes. If they were mandatory, I would proudly take one because I want you to know.
That's right.
I want you to know that all of this I'm going through right now, that shoe back that's not even buttoned up, that's you. Because of you.
I get it. I'm not heartless. Let me just say I'm not heartless. But what I'm about to say will make it seem like I am. But it's not. It's just that I've been in this industry a long time. So I know and I see a lot. But if that child is 1 or 2 and you find out that that child is not yours, you do a paternity test, you find out the child is not yours, it's easier to let go of 2 years than 10 years, than 15 years.
I feel that parents should absolutely know what they've contributed to, and children should absolutely definitively know who their parents are.
There are activists that are trying to get a law to make it, but it's not passing because for some women, they feel that it would make more of a stigma against women.
Here's the problem that you run into. You decide, man, I just found out that child is not mine. And then you decide, but listen, I've been here for a year. I've been here for 2 years for that child. I'm going to continue being that child's father. And then mom goes on and she goes into a new relationship, and that man does not want you to see that child, does not want you to have a relationship with that child, and mom cuts it off. So now the child is 7. You should have let go when the child was 2. You didn't. Now the child is 7, 8, 9, however old the child is. And it's a lot harder to let go of.
Right. It becomes a stigma. If it was just mandatory and it was all over, the stigma would actually go away. It gets weird because people got to be asking you, am I your baby father? Maury Povich moments, you know? Are you the father?
But don't
if
you
it was
think
just mandatory and we just...
that 2 people have sex and there's a possibility that woman's going to get pregnant, that it's a mature decision that, yeah, you are the father.
And you should know.
If mom chooses for you not to have a relationship with that child at that point, guess what? You will not have a relationship with that child because you do not have any rights to that child. Remember, that's not your biological child.
Just check in and make sure, just like you get all the tests when you are pregnant. You're taking blood tests, you're making sure the dad's healthy, you're making the child healthy.
Well, it's good for
genetics.
Yeah, it's good for the genetics.
Yes.
I will say that.
Yes.
But I think that there's still an issue with, it's stigmatizing. Women are already like, it's like.
I see this time and time again. Ladies, our men do care. And I've seen men break down finding out that a 14-year-old is not theirs. And yes, you know, they want their child support money back. But a lot of the men that I've seen, that's the last thing on their mind. they're thinking about the relationship that they would probably no longer have.
Women are already held to a different standard when it comes to, if you're married, but a lot of them aren't married and having multiple partners and things like that. So I think that's what that has to deal with. I just don't want women stigmatized about they get pregnant and then the minute they get pregnant, who is the actual father?
Well,
there are responsible women that know who they having sex with, they know who they pregnant by.
But notice how the black woman, notice how she is the only one that's bucking the system. She is the only one that's worried about how it will look for women. There are men out here deleting themselves because of paternity fraud. And this bitch is worried about what it would look like for women. Are you kidding me?
I feel like it's a win-win situation when there is mandatory paternity tests. It's a win-win situation because the father knows his responsibility and the mother now has to hold him to that responsibility.
Team coverage now. NBC 15 investigates what it takes to prove paternity outside of marriage in Wisconsin. It can happen in court or through a voluntary agreement by the mother and father. Elise Romas takes a closer look at a third option.
When these children are teenagers and you're doing these paternity tests, really, they're the ones that it really, really hurts.
A Wisconsin law took effect in August. It allows genetic testing to prove paternity. Knowing who the child's father is allows the state to establish child support payments, placement, custody, and to put the father's name on the birth certificate. This new option takes away court proceedings entirely unless one of the parents disagrees with the test results.
So we got to think about these things, which is why I said I'm not heartless. Let's do this in the beginning and get this out of the way so we can understand and we can know and we can have knowledge that this is my child. There is no doubt. Every time I get into an argument with their mom, I'm not feeling like this is not my child. I'm not in the back of my head thinking, man, is there a reason she's treating me like this? Is this not my child? No, you already know. You've already done a paternity test early on. So you know it's your child. So that's the last thing you're thinking about.
Now, what do you guys think? Do you agree or do you disagree? Either way, leave your comments below so we can start this conversation. Until the next video, stay safe in the streets. Later. That will wrap it up for today's episode. And thank you for joining me. So please, leave a comment below. If you agree, if you disagree, it doesn't matter. Leave the comment below. And also, you tell me what you want me to cover. You tell me what you want me to discuss and what you want me to react to, okay? And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'll see you on the next episode. Please don't forget to subscribe. Let's rebuild the Black nuclear family. It is needed, okay? God bless.